wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working.
What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all the lovely individuals out there. My name is ATS Crypto, bringing you another Market Pulse in the afternoon. Today is Monday, March 25th. We are almost to the end of March, almost to the end of the quarter. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day as always, friends and family. We're checking out Bitcoin. Bitcoin did a pretty crazy rally over, really over today, primarily. A pretty decent rally, as a matter of fact, bringing it all the way up at one point in time as high as 71,000. So we're going to be diving into that, checking out the power law of distribution, checking out that, of course, and also checking out what's going on with the overall Hex PulseChain ecosystem, see what's happening with everyone. So before we begin, be sure to like the video, be sure to subscribe, be sure to come on and comment down below what you are most interested in the most recent news and events happening. And let me get this sent over to myself. And I hope everyone, again, is having a fantastic day. So without further ado, let's take a little peeky-weeky over here at what Bitcoin is doing right now. Bitcoin is absolutely smashing. Now, again, it does have some pullback as of the last hour, but really you can see as of today, it started out at roughly around 67,000. I mean, I could even go back to the actual open of today, which is roughly right in this little zone. So it was actually around 66,000, and it actually managed to go all the way up to, like I said, roughly around 71,000 at one point in time. That's pretty big moves for Bitcoin. And again, this is on the hourly. Looking at the Impulse MACD, it does look like it has been bullish. Finally starting to get a little bit of a pullback and some correction. Would love to finally see one day, if we can make it happen, Bitcoin go above a weekly close above the all-time high. So again, that's something that Bitcoin hasn't had a chance to fully do just yet. So we're going to see if this week is the week where Bitcoin can finally close above 69,044. Otherwise, we've kind of just been stuck here at this little 69K range, anywhere ranging between 60,000 on up to 74,000. As a matter of fact, 73,794 was the actual number there. So pretty crazy stuff going on with that. Whenever I look at the overall news on this one, there's one of the things called the next pivot indicators over here. Kind of gives you a pretty good estimation as to indicators of what might be possible. Again, this is checking out the last 30 days and kind of coming out with some indicator of what we could be looking at in the next coming weeks / we'll say 50 days at this point in time is what it's actually estimating. So right here, it's going to say that we're probably going to remain here around the 70K range. We're going to probably leave this on and see how it plays out. Let me actually draw just in case again, there's any sort of adjustments or anything here, and then see if we can actually make this come to life. Because this is actually showing Bitcoin dropping all the way down to 55,000, and I know that would shake out so many people. So I'll probably leave it around this little zone right here just for now to kind of see how it's all going to play out. But it is very curious to see, because then it has a nice little recovery on the way back once again after the Bitcoin halving. So this is actually estimating that prior to the Bitcoin halving, we do see another pullback. We're going to have to wait and see how that really actually ends up playing out for sure. And I'm curious to know what y'all's thoughts are on this, right? I'm definitely curious to know what y'all's thoughts are. Can we get a weekly close above the previous all-time high? Or do we remain kind of stuck here in this level where it keeps kind of testing out the 70K range and then busting back down? I'm definitely curious to see how it's all going to play out. What's interesting on that little forecast is it ends up bringing us back down. Let me actually see over here. What's interesting about this is it actually ends up kind of keeping us right in this little zone for the golden pocket zone right above it. So right above this 786 threshold. Very curious to see how it's all going to play out, y'all. Very curious, because again, Bitcoin hasn't really done this before a Bitcoin halving, right? Most of the time when it does these little breakouts, most of the time it's after the halving. And so I'm very curious to know if institutions are still doing it. Speaking of the institution, it looks like Grayscale had also just recently dumped a whole lot more. Once again, it doesn't seem like they can actually hold on to their Bitcoin. So they went and sent another massive, large chunk of it through to Coinbase after all was said and done. So pretty crazy stuff there. Now, what I mentioned just a moment ago was the long-term power law for Bitcoin. And what this actually ends up showing, or what this is kind of an indicator over here, just saying like, basically based on Bitcoin's past performance, how has it done? And essentially the easiest way to describe this is, the easiest way to describe this is basically if Bitcoin does another double this cycle, then how long would it take for Bitcoin to end up getting, we'll say, to $1 million? So say Bitcoin ends up reaching over to $250,000 this cycle. On average, if it took another 16 months, it would actually double the length of time needed to actually get there. So basically, in order to reach $500,000, we would be looking into the because again, Bitcoin's been out 14 years. It would take another 14 years to get up there. So it's very curious to see how this is all going to play out, because this has Bitcoin by 2030 on a high of $2 million per Bitcoin. Again, on a low of $276,000 per Bitcoin. And even this cycle right now, if we were to break this into the 2025 threshold, this is a high of $500,000 for Bitcoin, with once again a low of $50,000 for Bitcoin by 2025. So it's very curious to see how this is all going to end up playing out overall. Right now, we are just in the median right here. So this is kind of saying if we were to hit 2025 by February, November, somewhere in that low range, we could possibly look in between anywhere between $100,000 Bitcoin on up to roughly around $48,000 or $480,000 for Bitcoin. So that is pretty crazy stuff here. And again, this is a Bitcoin power law, so it kind of gives you a pretty good idea of how it works. The price will reach $100,000 per Bitcoin no earlier than 2021, no later than 2028. After 2028, the price will never drop below 100,000. So that's kind of what we talk about here on this channel. When things hit certain levels, these prices are never going to be seen again. So even though we may think it to be a wild, crazy high number, the chances are that it ends up just continuing and getting longer and better and better. And again, they're saying by 2028, this $100,000 Bitcoin would no longer be in the threshold into the region, because this is actually the $100,000 mark, this line right here. And this is saying by this point in time in 2028, you should never see below $100,000 Bitcoin, which would almost go in cycle with how Bitcoin has actually done, which has actually performed very well over 4 years period, right? Most people who get in typically are pretty profitable. So it is interesting to see how it is playing out. Now, again, just to let everyone know, I do not hold any Bitcoin. That is not something that I partake in, but it is very curious to see how this whole chart's going to play out. Ethereum currently sitting at $3,588 right now, with the high so far today of $3,661. So it actually had a pretty crazy dip over the weekend. It's done a pretty decent recovery as well. If we were to actually measure this move on upwards of around 20% so far in the last 5 days. Again, that's not too crazy in crypto terms. So it's definitely interesting to see how it's all going to play out. I do see this actually using the same little indicator over here, bringing the price down, because if we anticipate that Bitcoin is going to have a pullback prior to the Bitcoin halving, Ethereum tends to follow very closely with Bitcoin as well, which would actually bring the price of Ethereum back down into the $2,000 range, possibly even lower, depending upon which metric you're looking at. But right above $2,000 is where this is sitting before it actually starts taking off into the, we'll say, into the moon, right? So most times when you look at these cycles, what's important to understand, let me actually switch this up on weekly, turn this off for a second. So what's important to understand is when we actually look at some of these moves, how long does it typically take for Ethereum after the dip? This is what we're talking about here, where it's basically saying that there's going to be some sort of a pullback. 60, 70, 80% is possible in crypto, y'all, so get ready for that. But how long after the halving before it even started breaking out to where it was previously, which was roughly around 147 days to make it back to where it was previously prior to the halving back in June of 2019. So could we see something similar to this happening? Yeah, I'm very curious to know. I'm very curious to know how this is all going to play out. But one thing that does kind of concern me is the SEC pulling out the BS once again, trying to see if Ethereum's ICO was in fact going to be a considered security time. And now, of course, that could be a cause for a delay on the Ethereum ETF. So it was likely that Ethereum for the next crypto is most likely going to be the next ETF approved by the SEC once they actually end up getting all that done. However, not by the SEC, but yeah, by the SEC, I'm tripping. So it's going to end up being just one of those things. We have to see how it's all going to play out. I'm curious to know, does Ethereum get approved for an ETF this year? Does it get approved after the Bitcoin halving or before? Most likely it's definitely going to be after, unless we see the Ethereum ETF getting approved in less than a month's time, which I just do not see happening at this time. As a matter of fact, right now there's roughly around, I believe 20 days. How many days are left? Well, obviously it's going to be a little bit more than that. So 25 days are going to be until the next Bitcoin halving. So it's actually kind of showing up right here. Whoops. Did I just refresh the page? What happened? Too zoomed in? 1 second, y'all. There it goes. I was just way too zoomed in. All right, cool. So 25 days until the next Bitcoin halving, which is scheduled at this point in time by, not even scheduled, but it's anticipated to take place, estimated, on April 19th. This has been getting pushed back, so it is actually more than likely going to be happening on 420, get a little 420 halving, but it's going to be in the next 3,720 blocks for that to actually take place. And I do anticipate that we may go sideways after the Bitcoin halving if things like to play out as they have in the past, where we end up having a Bitcoin halving. And for the most part, again, prior to the halving, we were here, and it actually took, we'll say, roughly around 160 days, even over here, 112 days, to start breaking out to what the price was prior to the halving. So I could see something similar playing out right here, where if the price ends up either coming down, staying flat, whatever the case may be, after the halving, seeing some little sell-off that actually takes place. Once that sell-off takes place, go ahead and go for, we'll say, another, what is it, 160 days, 170 days, somewhere in this little zone. So somewhere here, right about August of 2024, before we really start seeing a rally on upwards. However, this time has been different so far. We have been moving faster. Bitcoin is not getting its dips like it normally does. These are healthy, good structures, and the market is just not wanting to let Bitcoin have its dip. That's a good thing and a bad thing, but it's definitely a cautious thing that I would say. The Ethereum for the GWEI right now is still sitting at 33 GWEI, plenty to, or more than enough. Unfortunately, over the weekend, it did actually get as low at one point in time as 16 GWEI. That was pretty incredible if you were able to transact on that period of time. I actually had a stake that ended around that time, and on my Hex side, I was able to end it at that point in time. I sent the message to everyone in the Patreon Telegram as well and said, hey guys, a heads up. GWEI is freaking super cheap right now. So if you're trying to transact, do something like send a bridge or any of that, that was actually a phenomenal time to get it done. But overall, it does look like Ethereum GWEI is going back up again. Do we have to wait until the weekend for it to come back down? We'll just have to wait and see. Let me say hello to some beautiful people, and also real quick, thank all of the sponsors who actually support the channel as well, which is in fact all the Patreon members. So let me give a little shout out to y'all real quick.
I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to Debbie Phillips, ES Sports, Claudia Schwartz, Sir Toasty, Joel Lawrence, Joe Blow Crypto, Hector Reyes, Bureau Attila, Sean, Rep Bussy, Robbie Tears, Atlantean, Jonathan, Oyston Larson, Eric Johannesson, Prospector, Darren, Patrick, Joxy Boons, Larry Eats Plants, Sovereign Man, Crypto CPT, Moonmutt, Benny Davis, Shamrocks and Shenanigans, Rugburn 222, Christopher Davis, Lacey, Heximus, Pulseximus, Arzella Barnes, SoFlo Life, Lord Jamie, Mark, Chris Bugatti, Secret Crypto 21M, Hex Stevens, Lucky Taylor, NatNat369, L James, David Morgan.
Thank you so much to every single one of y'all as well. So on this one, we actually have the price of PulseChain. We're going to take a little gander over here on the PulseChain network real quick. Let me just kind of go through here, say hello to some people who have been able to come in through the chat live on stream, and of course to all the replay viewers as well. So much love for every single one of y'all too. We got You Never Walk Alone. It's pump time right now. Definitely. Let's get it. Jims says, hey, yeah, RH stuff moving up today. Yeah, we're going to check that out here in just a second. Ink in particular, Ink likes to be the first mover. Out of all the tokens, Ink tends to be the one that actually ends up moving the market a little bit first, at least for now. That's not always going to be the case, but over the last, we'll say, couple of months, Ink has been the one leading the way. You Never Walk Alone, agreeing with that as well. Prospector, what's up, my friend? Happy Monday, South Texas Crypto. Been a minute catching live during the week. Send it all ATX. Appreciate that, my friend. So much love to you as well. Appreciate you tuning in on the live stream once again. J-Pon in the house. We got good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We got Julian Soul, Julian Soul. How you doing? Doing fantastic, my boy. Intrepid Pulse X. We got happy Monday to all. Absolutely. What's up, Digital Farmer? My guess is $160,000 for Bitcoin. Just saying. Yeah, again, we got so many there's such a wide range of where that price is going to be this time. And I absolutely love it, right? I absolutely am a big fan of the fact that the ranges estimate so long. Now, the $1 million is a tough thing for me to envision, but on the high side, 500,000. And if you are roughly around 60% wrong on that one, then you're still hitting roughly around 230,000, which is still pretty incredible to see Bitcoin reach that number. Because again, if you just think about the fact that at 69,000, it had done a 6.9 million X. Well, at the $100,000 level, it's done a 10 million X, right? And what's funny is every single time it goes up to another 100,000, it'll be a 20 million X, right? So as soon as it hits 200,000, 20 million X from the bottom. That is a wild thing to say. Again, saying 6.9 million X is already tough to even fathom or imagine. And imagine how many people got shook out over the FUD, over the news, over the fear, over the doubts, over everything happening. And look at where it's going right now and what's still possible. Now, again, I don't own any Bitcoin. I've said this again in the past. There are better plays ahead of time. Even Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin, at least in terms of the number of gains that you can get in this cycle. But it's wild to think that you're going to be saying 10 million X, 20 million X, 50 million X. Those are pretty massive numbers, y'all. If Bitcoin ends up getting to $500,000. So pretty wild to think about that. But I appreciate you sharing that as well. We got RH saying 241,000. We got, most people falling anywhere between 150 to 500. So I think any prediction in that range is still pretty wild. And what's funny is that's always that last little 2x that you think is going to happen. So it can do all the X's during that entire time. And as soon as you decide to say, this is the point, this is the X's that it's doing, this is everything happening. And as soon as you decide to say, like, it's going to do another 2X, like, let's say it hits 160,000. Everyone in their mind, in their mother, is going to be saying, it's got another 2X ahead, which would put it at 320,000. Does it have that final 2X? And this happens for all crypto, y'all. So don't get caught up in that final leg. If you have some massive opportunity, you've been able to make good profits on your crypto, be sure to take profits, y'all. Be sure. Otherwise, you're round tripping it, which is all good if you end up doing it. But just understand that could mean another 3-4 years for you to be able to start seeing some of those gains. So keep that in your mind as well. Say hi to me. What's up, Terry Grimes? How you doing, my friend? How you doing, my boy? Anthony Saavedra, what's up, y'all? Fire, appreciate that. Jay Everything, absolutely. My man, Funkmaster Hex. AFAM didn't get a shout out yet. Well, AFAM hasn't joined yet. So until you join, you do not get a shout out. We'll keep it simple like that. The people who have joined are getting the shout outs on the video. So yeah, let them know. AFAM, where you at, boy? It only costs $5 to get in, man. It's not like it's crazy. And then we just got different levels for everyone as well. So all that good stuff. We got a super chat in the house. Alan Valden, appreciate that. Hey, ATX, what do you think 888 million PulseChain potentially looks like in 12 months from today? The 12 months from today is always a tough question. I appreciate the super chat as well. It's always one of those things that I can see. Let's just say in 12 months time, that's super tough, man. I don't know about the 12 months time. By the end of the bull cycle, whenever that may be, I can see it being anywhere between 3 cents to 10 cents for PulseChain. So whatever that math ends up being. So 880, well, I was just doing 88888. 888 million times, we'll even just do 3 cents. Puts you right in the $26 million range. So, I mean, that would be more than enough for many people to be very happy with how they've done and how they've performed. And the main question about that is, could you last through that time frame to get there? Because you're going to have to not only see a 10x, a 20x, a 50x, a 100x, you're just going to have to see those x's. And so I think right now, from the way the current price is sitting on PulseChain, if we went 0.03 divided by 0.00012, it would be roughly around a 250x from today. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good estimate as to a good time frame on that one. But that's kind of my estimate of where I think it could end up going. Could it be lower? Could it be higher? Sure. Are you going to be happy if it's at 5 million versus 10 million versus 20 versus 26? I would hope so, right? I would really hope so. And that's what I was talking about. Whenever you have these numbers in your head, it's easy to put the numbers and say these figures, but do you have the 5 Ps, the proper preparation, preventing poor performance? Do you have that set up in such a way that ensures your victory? And what I mean by that is exactly what I say. If you don't have any plan in place and you see it go off and do a 50x from today, so we'll just say, I'm just going to do 800 million on this one just to make the math a little bit easier for me. So we'll just say it's roughly around $100,000. So at the $100,000 mark, when you end up getting to that level, that's plenty for some people. But what happens is if you get a 50x from there, so you say, cool, I'm at 100,000 and now I'm sitting on $5 million. Again, for some people, that's enough for them to say this could pay for the rest of my life. For others, they say I need more. And that's where greed comes in. And so if you don't take profits along the way, you're eventually going to be stuck in a position where $5 million could be the top. Who knows? What if the 50x is where we end up hitting? Again, I don't know for certain, but what if that is the top and you had a bag of 5 million and you watch it all drop down? The idea is that you take profits along the way properly. So as the price keeps going up, let's go this way. As the price keeps going up, and it goes up here, when the price does that, do you have your profit taking levels? Do you have a strategy that says when my portfolio reaches 500K, I'm pulling out 10%. When my portfolio reaches $1 million, I'm taking out 10%. When my portfolio reaches 2 million, I'm taking out 10%. Because those are the basic, easy ways of taking profit in a decent way without wrecking your entire position, but also paying yourself for the amount of time that you've had to wait. Because if you took profit on 2 million, 1 million, and 500, just in that example, you would take profit on 50,000, 100,000, and 200,000. Meaning you would have $350,000 taken in profit, and you would still be sitting on a bag over here, right? We're going to say somewhere in the ballpark of $4 million. That's great. Or even, $2 million. That's phenomenal. You know what I mean? So like, that's incredible. Just make sure that you have a good strategy set up that you can live with, because at the end of the day, take profit is definitely the way, folks. If you want to pay off your house, pay off your debt, pay off your credit cards, pay off your student loans, live a better life, not have to worry about working overtime at your job, take a vacation that's much needed, pay for your family, pay for all that other stuff, right? That's when you can really start implementing all that stuff as well. But yeah, keep that in mind for everything. But that's my estimate. And again, would I be happy with, all the numbers in between? Absolutely. Again, like if you turn 100,000 into 5 million, bro, like you freaking won, bro. You know what I mean? But so many people are going to just sell their entire position thinking, I've made it. I can live off this. I don't need any more. I don't need the stress, and I'm out. And then it goes off and does another, we'll say 10x from there, for example. So instead of the 50x that you started out with, it would have been 500x, but you sold out on the 50x and then you cashed out, you lived your life. Make sure you do it correctly. So if you don't have it set up right now, you can make it to where you can set up a CRT or a charitable remainder trust And again, I'm not a tax advisor, but if you want to, make sure you look into all of that before you sell massive positions of the portfolio to ensure that you don't have to pay taxes on the asset. Otherwise, you're going to end up paying roughly around 30, 35, in some cases, 40% capital gains taxes. So even if you pulled out $200,000 or $300,000, you're losing $100,000 right away or $150,000 right away to taxes if you aren't set up properly. So make sure that you check that out. Again, there are many resources out there to allow you to get that done. I don't advise setting it up right now. Personally, I think now's the time to invest in the actual assets of crypto. But when the time comes for money to be made, pull out $10,000, set up with the lawyer, go set up a CRT, go set up the LLCs, go set up everything needed. And then that way you can pay taxes on the 10,000, but then you go put the 4 million in that account or 5 million in that account or 2 million in that account, whatever that number is. And then you don't have to pay taxes on it. But again, that's just a whole nother topic for a whole different day. And yeah, I mean, maybe we can go over some of that one day if it's something that y'all would like to look into. But that's kind of what I would say before you cash out, folks. You have to do it before. If you cash out and then you're like, what do I do to save taxes? It's just too late, man. It's too late. Okay, just accept the fact that the tax man is going to want their money and their position and their bread. But you can set it up in a way to actually get you covered. So make sure you look into that before you do it. We got the current price of PulseChain sitting at 3012. Current price of PulseX 40496. Current price of the Ink token $7.02. Current price of the Hex price on PulseChain 1 penny or 1.2 cents at this point in time. Current price of Hex on Ethereum 2 zeros and a 4 or a quarter of a penny, whichever way you want to say it. The ratio tends to pretty much stay at this 1-to-5 ratio. It is something I am tracking. I did recently make a purchase of 1 million Hex and bridge it over into the Hex ecosystem or the Ethereum ecosystem when the GUI was low back when it was 16 over the weekend, and actually staked it out for 10 years and 15 years because we don't know what the future holds. So I'm going to take my risk there. And again, everyone has to find their own strategy to get that done. Again, don't follow me because I am not a financial advisor by any stretch of the imagination. I don't pretend to be. But again, that's just what I've done, and I'm just sharing it with you. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone. Looking at the prices on PulseChain right now. Whoops, that's the price of PulseX. We'll start there. Looking at the price of PulseX. Current price, again, is sitting at 404962. It looks like it has started to find some support at this real price right now. So again, we've seen price support around this region before. If I was to draw a nice little dotted line right there, you would see some support multiple times where we've come back down, retested it, support. We've almost came back down, retested it as support. It fell through. It became resistance. It fell through. It became support. It became support. It became support. And now we're retesting that support line or support level once again. Does it actually want to push on out of this is really the main question. We did fall below the 618, but it is now going above the 618 once again. So the fib retracement is always a big one. This was actually going from one of the more local tops to the more local bottoms. It wasn't the exact bottom over here. If you were to pull it up from the exact bottom over here, again, we haven't fully tested out the 618 level yet, but I don't know if we will. What I do know is that we are still trading within the parallel channel. So as long as we pretty much maintain in this parallel channel, it can absolutely bounce all the way down into this little range here, which is 4 zeros and a 4, and it can bounce all the way back up and go above SAC price and still be within a bullish parallel channel. And again, this is starting to break previous all-time high. When we start getting up into this region up here, we're going and retesting out previous all-time high, and then it's just price discovery from there. What actually ends up happening, what goes on, we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. But I would like to advise y'all to have a longer mindset. We got the Bitcoin halving in April, right? So again, if I was to actually draw a little line over here, let me see where I would want it. April, we'll just say 20th, right? April 19th. So this is going to be the Bitcoin halving day. I'll just draw a little line, put some text. BTC halving. All right. Halving. I can spell, y'all. I promise. I know how to spells. I can spells me real good. So that's going to be the Bitcoin halving around this time frame. We want to see how it all plays out. But like I said earlier, for the most part, after the Bitcoin halving, y'all, you can anticipate that we ended up kind of going sideways for a period of time, right? If you look at the Bitcoin halving back in 2016, when it actually went down over here, we were sideways for around 90 to 100 days before it really started to take off. And even right here, it's about a 2x higher before it really started to take off. And that was 175 days later. Over here, kind of the similar metric over here before it actually really started to take off. We'll say roughly around that 175 time frame, 200-day time frame, somewhere in that ballpark. Just FYI, same thing over here for the last Bitcoin halving, roughly around 150 days, 120 days, somewhere in this region, somewhere in this range from when the Bitcoin halving took place to when it actually really started taking off. Again, I don't really consider a 30% pump, and I don't think y'all do either, as a massive pump, but that was when it really started to pick up. Again, 196 days. So based on past performance is not a guarantee on how it's going to do this performance. Just a heads up. So this one could absolutely just go and send everything catastrophically to the moon. But just in case it doesn't, I'm giving y'all the heads up right now to extend your time frames just a smidge. Bring it over into the September, October, even November time frame as a heads up. And again, I went over this in more detail with the Patreon peeps in the last call as well. All the calls are recorded for all the other previous streams as well. You can find the link down below, patreon.com/ATX Crypto. If it's something that you would like to join, it is always greatly appreciated, as it does just kind of help and show that you support the channel in different ways. Everyone's got their own way. I love the people who come in on the live stream, and the biggest way that you can support the channel is by clicking the like button, clicking that subscribe button if you aren't already, and that just means the world to me. We're definitely getting into a range of breaking almost 2,500 subscribers, and would love to end up getting that done. Now, once again, the RSI is in an oversold situation on PulseX, so it is very likely that when we get into an oversold situation like this, we do end up getting a rally. So we could, in fact, still see a rally. Again, the last time we had ended up seeing the rally was right here, and it actually ended up doing close to about a 2.2x. So if we were to see the same thing, assuming we get that nice little 2.2x, well, it brings us back above SAC price for PulseX. So we would still be within the parallel channel, or the bullish parallel channel. I'm just going to extend these lines to the right because I feel like we're going to probably bounce in this little range here for a while. So we'll see how this plays out. But this would be very bullish if we just bounced here in this range. And then guess what? By the time we end up in November of 2024, we're about a 10x higher from where we currently are right now. That would be pretty darn cool, wouldn't it? Even on the low side in November of 2024, you'd be a nice little 5x from SAC price, 5.4x from SAC price, and roughly, this would actually be close to about a 10x if we were to land in this zone over here. And if it actually bounced up into this, it would be a 10x from SAC price or a 30x from today's price. So that's my bullish news on the PulseX chart, and we're going to keep an eye on this. Seems like we are playing within this bullish channel. As long as we stay within that channel, I'm perfectly happy, y'all. Just to give you a heads up. We got Hex on PulseChain sitting at 1.2 cents right now. Looking at the overall price chart once again, it's not really doing anything too crazy. It's fallen below all of the EMAs, so we've taken a look there, and until it really recaptures the 200, I'm not really too worried about it going off and doing something crazy. It would want to actually find and break past, ideally, the 200 EMA, which is this line right here. So that's kind of what, if I am looking at anything, I guess that's kind of where I'd be looking, would be breaking above the 200. Now, again, something bearish that is kind of forming itself, or at least making its presence appear in front of me, is this 50 crossing below the 200. Usually when that happens, it is actually a bearish signal for more pain to come. And it looks like we would still be within a ascending wedge as well if it actually came all the way down and tested out below a penny. So just a heads up for that. Again, still massive moves to be made, but just giving everyone a heads up, RSI is looking like we are starting to flip bullish on this one. So that's always a good thing too. And it's something I will be keeping an eye with everyone and keeping everyone in the loop on this as we proceed. The incentive token, again, leading the pack right now is $7.01. It looks like it has retested out the 786 level. Would love to see a bounce back up, all the way back up to the $10 region, which it does look like it wants to do. We are starting to form a nice little W. which again, in terms of crypto, that is very bullish, the little George W pattern. So this right here is a nice little pattern that's starting to make itself known. We have a higher high, a higher low starting to form. We want to, again, make another higher high. So we would love to break above, ideally in this situation, break above the $7 and we'll say 20-cent level for it to really start making into that higher high situation and then keep on going up. And again, I see the incentive token, if it is going to lead the pack, being the first one to hit the levels over here, which is around the $26. We've broken it down over here. It's breaking the 618 level first, which would be $10. Breaking the 786 level next, which would be $26. And that would be mad freaking bullish, y'all. Super freaking bullish overall. And that would also be the indicator right here. It looks like the RSI for this one is starting to trend into a bullish trend. The RSI did just flip the blue versus the orange. So it is wanting to be bullish on this one. And I am perfectly happy because, guys, not only do I buy the ink token on a daily purchase as well, but I also end up farming it as well. So there are multiple ways to get this done. If it's below 5, I go a little bit heavier. If it's above 5, I go a little bit lighter on my DCA. But at the end of the day, if this sucker ended up going off and hitting $26, plenty of people are going to sell. Plenty of people are going to do that and take their profits. And I'll just be buying it up and taking small profits along the way, as you should with all of your cryptos, guys. Take profits, but do it responsibly. All right, PulseChain. Currently sitting at 301196. We are finding another support level at this range. So it is wanting to stay above the SAC price. This is actually pretty bullish. I would hate for it to fall below, but if it does, it would still be reasonable and well within the bullish channel that we've talked about on PulseX just a moment ago. As long as it stays within this bullish channel, I am still mad bullish as well. And yes, there can be days where it does break out of it, like you can see right here. These days don't tend to last too long, so I try not to make the biggest deal out of them because there are going to be days where it breaks above. There are going to be days where it breaks out. As long as it stays within the channel, though, and plays within this little zone, even breaking down a little bit, I am still freaking extremely bullish on where PulseChain could go. I pulled this up last time as well, but if we actually look at the same thing for where we are November of 2025, well, we end up in a situation where we could end up being anywhere between 2 zeros and a 1 all the way up to 2 zeros and a 3, which again would be 10x less than what I just said a moment ago on the 3 cents to 10 cent range. So it's going to be a little indicator as to where we end up going. But, you know, we don't always stay within this channel. And eventually, when the bull market comes, it likes to go like this and eventually do a little parabolic move right before it does a crash, whether it be testing out the 2618 level, whether it be testing out the 3618 level. You can kind of see where I'm getting the prices from. So the 2618 first puts us right below a penny. Beautiful level here. The 3618 would put us right in between, right at 8 cents. And I could definitely see it going up, retesting out these ranges, these prices, and coming back down because this is typically how a bull market will go. You'll get up, you'll get really euphoric. Everyone and their mother is going to be saying, hey, we're going to be getting another 2x from here. And again, it's already going to be doing multiple of X's, y'all. You have to understand that, right? So it's already has done multiple of X's. Even reaching this price right here, right below a penny, will be pretty freaking awesome. And everyone's going to be thinking, it's got another 2x. It's got another 2x. It's got another 2x. Be very careful with that mindset going into this bull market, y'all, because that is the mindset that tends to actually leave people with the round trip bag. So the price doesn't do a 2x. It ends up doing another 50% move maybe, and then it drops, right? And the drop is pretty fast. And then you get that last little hoorah rally, we'll call it, where you get that last little bit. People are like, oh my God, the bull market's not over. I told you it's not over. And then it dips on down another 90%. So keep that in mind for everything. That's just how a bull market will go. But a 90% dip would keep us well above and well ahead of where the current prices are at right now. And even right here, 2 zeros and a 2 from the 3 cent range, which is a 90% correction today, would still in fact be a nice little 21% or 21x gain that you would actually have on that move. Okay. So I hope that makes some sense into the bullish side of things. But again, keep that in mind. A lot of people are expecting another 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x in the next week, day, month, and you're going to get the call correct. It is going to do those X's. It just won't do it in the time frame that you may be thinking it will. So let's plan ahead and say, okay, cool. If for whatever reason it does take, we'll say 120 days, that puts us into the August of 2024 range, and we could probably end up being back at previous all-time highs, which is roughly about a 3x from where we currently are right now, right? Close to about a 2.5x from where the current price is. And again, roughly about a 3x from where the actual SAC price is as well. Keep that in mind. It does matter. It absolutely matters. Let me see what else. Let me see what else is going on with the. Let me see what else is going on with the chat, and check out some news as well. So where are we at on the news side? SEC's plans to ask judge for $2 billion in fines and penalties from Ripple Labs. Man, the SEC is just trying to get any money they can. Oh, jeez. Anyways, let me say what's up to the chat. We'll look at the we'll look at some news here in a second. It's just comical, man. It's just so comical. The SEC is like, just give me something. They're trying to get like another, I think it was like $2 billion to help with fraud protection or whatever they wanted to call it. I forget the exact definition that they ended up saying. It was something super silly and stupid almost to a certain degree. Let me see here. All right, here we go. Let me actually see if I can pull up this chart over here. It's from the Arkham Intelligence side of things, and see if we can look it up. Grayscale. What? Grayscale. Bitcoin Trust. Okay. And visualize. I don't want to visualize, my bad. All right, let me go back and read the chat. I got completely distracted, y'all. Completely distracted. If you didn't know this already, definitely got completely distracted on that one. All right, back to the chat. Muma, what's up, my friend? Says good to be here today. Absolutely appreciate you. Yeah, Alan says, holy. Yeah, dude. The numbers are going to be wild, but again, can you make it to that time frame is really the question. You never walk alone. Just worked out. Your name is 80x. I may be unable to call you anything else after that. That's funny. Instead of ATX, it's 80x. Lol. That's too funny. 5 million should be enough. It all depends what woman you're with. Oh my gosh. Love the 5 Ps, says Intrepid. Love the 5 Ps as well, for sure. Yeah, the 5 Ps will definitely save you, my friend. Alan says, dang, that's why I got to stay tuned to you to keep these fundamentals in place. My conviction levels are diamond levels high. Appreciate that. Crazy sauce you're giving out, dude. Thank you. Appreciate you as well. Checks my pulse. What up? Salute to you, my friend. Intrepid says, appreciate the insight. So refreshing to keep up the fantastic work. ATX, I definitely will. Gloria, how are you doing, my love? And hope you're enjoying the day. And outflows. Let's just go on over here. So we actually have Grayscale doing their thing once again, sending even more. Oh, this is a different Grayscale address. So 1 second. Grayscale. Grayscale. And let's do that one. Oh, same withdrawals. My bad, y'all. So this one actually shows they withdrew roughly around 3,000. They withdrew roughly around 3,000 Bitcoin just a little moment ago, 5 days ago. They withdrew another 3.7K over here. Grayscale just wants to keep on keeping on, right? Like they just love tanking the price, man. It seems like they just get an absolute joy of this. You can see right here where they just keep on selling. So Grayscale sending all of these deposits over into Coinbase. So, you know, Coinbase. Again, 500 Bitcoin, 700 Bitcoin, 400 Bitcoin, 700 Bitcoin. Like they just keep on sending. Oh man, they just keep on sending, and it's funny that the even after all of that, the price of Bitcoin is still doing pretty crazy things. Pretty crazy, man, if I do say so myself. So it's wild to see Bitcoin continue with the movement. It actually has shocked me the fact that it recovered. I almost want Bitcoin to come back down, because if not, you're just going to get a massive run up, and it may not last as long as you think. So make sure that you have a plan, not only for the end of 2025, but also the beginning of 2025. So, like Alan had asked earlier in the question, it was a great question saying, where do we think in the next 12 months? The possibility that the 12-month could be a possibility for a top is there. So keep that all in mind, folks. So you're not going to time the exact top, and I don't think anyone should try to time the exact top either. But you do want to try to be freaking close, right? And so on average, when Bitcoin has broken its previous all-time high from previous cycles, moving into the actual Bitcoin bull market that we call it, what it does is it tends to last for 12 months. Well, we broke the Bitcoin previous cycle top in February. Again, I'll pull up the chart, man. This is a chart. The chart tells me this, right? I'm not making any of this information up. This literally shows when this is the previous cycle top here, right? We can all agree. So, or this is the one in 2017, should I say? So it hit the previous cycle top roughly around 19K. Well, how long did this market last after the 19K was hit? Well, take it from the 19K. We ended up doing a nice little double top. 336 days. What? Oh my gosh. You can even say 343 days before it actually ended up breaking through. What about the previous times? Well, the previous cycle was 2013 when it hit its cycle top. After that, the Bitcoin didn't hit its previous top or the previous cycle top until December of 2016. And how long did it last from there? You don't say 350 days? Wow, right? And so, like, guys, these numbers matter, because when did we break the previous cycle top? Well, we broke it already. I don't know if y'all saw the charts on that, but we already broke the previous cycle top over here when it broke through the 69K, right? So measure that same move out and say, we might just see it go for 343 days, 350 days, somewhere here, which puts it in February of 2025. What the price is, that's to be determined. You can go back and try to guesstimate, but it's anywhere between 150,000 to 500,000. And I know that seems like a wide range, but it's not in all reality, because again, it's only a 5x difference. So it's pretty wild. So it's freaking crazy. It's freaking crazy. But make sure that you have the 5P set up. Could February mark the top of Bitcoin? And does that mean we have about 6 more months, give or take, as an altcoin to probably make our moves correctly? That tends to be the case. Most things will top out around this May timeframe or April timeframe, and then November of time, and then it was kind of like everything kind of like was a lag of roughly around 30 days or so. So I hope that makes some sense, because it's a pretty crazy thing. Casey Costa says, I'm a greedy mother effer, so if I don't get what I want, I'm round tripping it. Yo. So that story just reminds me of the whole Dogecoin millionaire situation, where the Dogecoin millionaire was like, I'm not selling and I'm not doing anything until I reach $10 million. And you actually see on this cycle where they don't really believe that anymore, to be fair. They are now saying that they are taking profits along the way. When it ends up hitting it, they managed to be back above $1 million again. So the Dogecoin got into a millionaire position by Dogecoin, which is wild. But he held it for a long time. He said he wasn't selling until $10 million. This time he said he's probably going to sell a good portion, y'all, even if it doesn't hit 10 million. So you can say those things, and it's easy to say, very tough to do. And if you end up doing it, you may end up reaping massive rewards, because while the gains this cycle could be 250x from here upwards to 500x from here from the current prices, not from all-time low, but from current prices, and then you round trip it all over again, and then you go to the next cycle. The next cycle tends to be higher again. And so even after all of that, even if you round trip it, you may end up still being, I've pointed out earlier, 20x up your money. Okay. Because again, you can get a 90% dip in the game. That just happens on bear markets. 90-80% dips, they happen. So anticipate that. So we go from 3 cents down to 2 zeros and a 3. Well, from here, that's still 20x higher from where you currently are. So congrats. You know what I mean? Keep that in mind though, because then you could round trip it again, and then you see that 1000x, you know, all the big numbers there. And again, that's just, who knows how it's all going to end up playing out. There's no way of really knowing, but being greedy is good. Being smart and taking profits is better. Because if you do it correctly, and again, there's 1,000 different ways to do it. You don't have to do it like this exact way. There's not like a perfect way of doing it. You're not going to hit a home run every single time you step up to the bat and swing the bat, right? So if that's the case, and your portfolio goes from 5,000 to 500,000 on a nice little 100x, put something in the bank, man. Just do me a favor and put something in the bank. You don't have to be the craziest, but even putting 10% of that 500,000, putting 50K in the bank, that could help you round trip. It just makes life so much easier. And not only can it help you round trip, it can also allow you the opportunity to buy more on the dip when it arises. So you don't have to just buy when the price is falling. You wait until the whole 80-90% dip is in. Again, you're not going to go for the exact bottom, but if you can get pretty darn close, that's awesome. You go in with that extra 50K, and then, you know, again, never go all in. Don't go silly on it, right? But you go in with the 50K during the bottom price, or you allow yourself to pay for your bills or live life a little more comfortable. Maybe you don't have to work overtime as much, maybe whatever the case may be, like all those things. And then by the time the next cycle comes around, you're really reaping the rewards. But hey, that's just my own opinion. Everyone's got their own. And again, like imagine holding Bitcoin at, you know, 6.9 million X from here, 7 million X from where it was on the bottom. And you were buying Bitcoin when it was, you know, sub penny or whatever. It was below $1. You're like, wow, that's pretty darn good, yo. That's pretty damn good. Prospector says Grayscale has to sell because their ETF holders are selling. I know why Grayscale is doing it. Grayscale is like the redheaded stepchild of the ETFs, man. They're the people who I feel like hurt the price the most out of everything. Let me see if I can even pull up a chart here as well. Here we go. No. No. Where'd you go? Bitcoin ETF fund. Okay, here you go. Was this it? No. 1 second, y'all. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Data. I thought I had it, man. I thought I had it, but I can't remember where it went. And I don't remember. Spot Bitcoin ETF. That's the right chart. It's just the wrong information that I'm looking for. BTC ETF. Here we go. Yeah, this isn't. I don't know why I'm not finding the exact chart. I'll have to go back and just kind of do a little bit of like making sure I have it up next time for this example. But the idea behind it was Bitcoin has been like the main seller. Oh, I think I have a picture of it. That's what it was. Was it a picture? I can't remember myself, man. What is going on? All my photos. We got more photos. Hold up, man. Now I got to find it. Now I've spent too much time and I've delved too deep in this for me to just let it go as it stands right here. So now I got to go ahead and make sure I'm not tripping myself out and see if I can. Well, it wasn't a photo either. Yeah, I don't even know where I ended up finding it, but basically it was like a whole chart that showed where the actual money's going on all of it, and not only for like the ETFs, but the main contender or the main point of it was that Found it. I found it. That's why you don't give up. That's why you don't give up. All right. So I'll actually just pull it up. I'll make it easier. So this is, look, these are the people buying. This is as of the ETFs got approved. Now you have to understand, Grayscale came out back in like 2013 for their whole thing. So they've been out for a hot minute. So they've definitely been people waiting to sell for the ETF to get approved. Well, the ETF has been approved as of the 11th of January. Look at all the other ETFs buying. These are people buying right here again, right? You can see all these tickers, all the people buying. Boom. They bought it. BlackRock bought it. Fidelity bought it. Bitwise bought it. ARK bought it. Invesco bought it. And then look at the red. Grayscale's done nothing but fucking sell. Excuse my language, but Grayscale's done nothing but sell the entire time. It's just sold. Yes, some other ones have sold, and I get that, right? People are going to go take their money and take their profit. Grayscale is doing nothing right now to help. Like, they've got, oh man, if you look at the overall total spot ETFs, they're bringing all these metrics down, whereas BlackRock's basically buying everything that Grayscale is selling, which you can kind of see. It's kind of funny, but BlackRock's basically buying up anything that Grayscale sells. And then it just keeps on going. So I kind of find that hilarious for sure. And I'll just kind of leave this chart up for anyone to see. But again, you can see the amount that Grayscale has been selling. They just keep on selling, man. They just don't stop. And it doesn't seem like they want to stop anytime soon. So kind of funny, man. Kind of funny stuff on that one. Yep, doing it live, folks. Benny Davis says thanks for streaming. Of course, my friend, always my dude, my G. I kind of like how it's totally different from before, but I am weird, bringing some new energy to the cycles that we all have to learn from. Yeah, I mean it's like it's different, but it's the same, right? So like all that's happening right now is we're getting a lot of institutions. And I feel like most retail investors are either FOMOing in on meme coins right now because the meme coin mania is absurd. It's absurdly high this cycle. Normally, meme coin comes after everything already tops. But this time in 2023, the meme coins started popping off like crazy. And going into 2024, they've been popping off like crazy. And they keep going. Like we just saw on the news the other day. It was the little Bitcoin, the crypto news. Someone bought an NFT for like $4.3 million with the dog with hat bullshit. And I'm like, I don't get NFTs for one. I've said that already. I've made my stance on that. I don't own any NFTs or anything like that. So maybe I just don't get it. I think it has a purpose for like contracts and stuff, but to buy a picture loosely related to a JPEG or to buy something on the blockchain loosely related to a picture that's hosted on the internet that they can change at any second. I don't get it, man. I don't get it, but whatever, right? Like it is what it is. What even is money nowadays? That's funny. That is absolutely hilarious. So it's kind of hilarious in that regard too, right? It's one of those things are different this time, but also things are looking the exact same. So really things are kind of just waiting for the whole Bitcoin halving narrative to kind of take place now. And like I've pointed out on previous streams, it's roughly going to last for about 90 to 150 days after the halving to really start taking off. And could you end up seeing a 3x during that time period? Sure. But to start getting into like the 10x's, the 20x's, the 40x's, the 100x's, the 200, 500, 1,000, whatever x's, that typically happens and comes after the halving is completed. And that's when retail investors really start getting into it. We've all heard the old adage, sell a man, go away. So that's kind of what's going to end up happening, where people end up selling into the news event, which is the Bitcoin halving. You get some people buying the dip because they sold down here, and you got people buying it up. And then all of a sudden it just keeps on going from there. But yeah, hopefully that makes some sense. What's up, A-Fam? I see you in the chat. Out of 11 industries to hold Bitcoin ETFs, I think 4 will survive. I thought Grayscale would have been one of them. Looks like I could be incorrect. Grayscale's eventually going to get their shit together, but you got to understand, like, Grayscale's had their funds since like 2013. So imagine, just like right now, I mean, heck, what was the price of Bitcoin back in 2013, guys? Like, imagine you had a chance and you were kind of forced in this situation, right? But like, imagine that you were holding during the 2013 rally where Bitcoin was $100, even on upwards to $1,000, right? Like, that was like the top in the 2013 narrative and the cycle top and all that. So you were buying anywhere between $100 and $1,000, and right now the price of Bitcoin is $70,000. So it's like their hand was kind of forced, but because of that, they were massively rewarded. How many of y'all would immediately sell if, like, you woke up and you said, "Hey, I've been waiting 10 years for this. I've waited 10 years, and because you've waited 10 years, you're now up." I'm just gonna even use 200 as a flat number on this one. You're now up 350x your money, but you had to wait 10 years. A lot of y'all were just cashed right away. I might even do it the same myself, right? Like, if you weren't, because they didn't know it was going to take this long. They had no clue. But because they had to wait this long, they were massively rewarded. Massively. Like, you're up 350x your money. Yeah, you're going to take some profits, my G. Even if you didn't get in during the 2013 timeframe and you had to wait and you were buying in the 2014 timeframe and it was 10,000 and again you're up, or even 5,000 and you're up, plenty of money on that one, a 35x your money on that one. A lot of people are going to take some profit, man. A lot of people are going to take some profits. What up, A-fam? I see you, my friend. Fresh out of work and right to a live stream. What up? Yeah, exactly. How you doing, my boy? All good, my friend. You okay? Yeah, everyone's saying hello to A-fam as he well deserves. A-fam is much loved in the ecosystem and the community as well. He said, not bad at all. Just looking to make some dinner, catch up on the market movements. How about you, right? And you say, Rose from the Titanic meme. It's been 86 years. Yeah, that's funny. That's hilarious. That's exactly what people are thinking with how long it took for Bitcoin to get approved. That's how it feels in crypto, by the way. Like, a year in crypto feels like 10 years of life. Which is why, like, people want things to happen fast and all that, because it's like they want to fast forward 10 years of their life all of a sudden, because that's what it feels like sometimes. Also, bull markets are shorter than bear markets. Keep that in mind. That's a fact. No dispute there. So get ready, because the bull market, you've had to wait 3 years. I'm just saying, the bull market lasts shorter than the bear market. Make sure you got your 5P set up of proper preparation, preventing poor performance. Make sure you Gucci on that, because that could absolutely get you wrecked. All right, what we got going on in the news over here besides good old freaking SEC coming after more people. Stop it, computer, stop it. Clicking way too much over here. Open that up all the way. I bet. Oh, cool, I can do that. That makes more sense. All right, cool. So looking at some news real fast. SEC plans to ask judge for $2 billion in fines and penalties from Ripple Labs. The SEC is asking for a New York judge. Why does everything got to be in New York, by the way? Like, what the F, man? You got the Trump case going on in New York. You got our case going on with Richard Hart in New York. You got Ripple going on in New York. Like, why is it all got to be in New York? Maybe, again, I'm not a lawyer by any means. Maybe it has to be in New York. I don't know. But I feel like everything happens in New York. This is weird. I thought ATX was about to say good old unregistered. Nah, bro. Nah, bro. Coinbase International sees record daily trading volume in March. Believe that. Philippine regulators take steps to block Binance. Believe that. That's what I'm saying. Like, these are all FUD events, but then they keep lasting, and then they get out of it. So, like, don't let a FUD event shake you out of your pants, or shake you out of your crypto, or shake you out of your holdings. DeFi Education Fund and Texas apparel company Biba take SEC to court over regulating by enforcement stance. Yeah, a lot of people are actually doing that, by the way, too. A lot of people are saying the SEC is just overreaching everything like crazy. Bitcoin back above $67,000, but market volatility causes a spike in liquidations. Yeah, we haven't even looked at the liquidations chart. in the last 24 hours. But people absolutely got freaking wrecked on these liquidations, y'all. Got wrecked. Look at this. This is last 24 hours over here. $80 million liquidated in Bitcoin, 33 million liquidated over here. And what's even crazier is when you end up getting into the actual liquidation metrics over here and you go into a 30-day, guys, there's roughly like $6.6 billion, possibly $5.6 billion that gets liquidated as soon as Bitcoin reaches $79,000. If it drops down to $56,000, there's 9 billion people going to get liquidated because they went long on Bitcoin over here. And they went like a 20x leverage and all this stupid shit that you do when you take leverage. So be smart, be wise about it. Don't do something to wreck yourself. But, yo, people got smoked. People got absolutely smoked on this one. So, what? Hide that. Cool. What the heck? Where'd my chart go? Oh, there you go. That's cool. All right, bet. What else we got? We got that news going on right there. We got you today showing up. Michael Saylor makes big Bitcoin statement as market uncertainty looms. That was yesterday's news. This is today. Ripple facing $2 billion demand from SEC. Like, yeah, give me all your money, bro. Oh, BlackRock praises Bitcoin as portfolio diversifiers. Bitcoin tops $70,000. What's crazy is like what I'm curious on, and I want to know what y'all's thoughts are on this as well. So, assuming that the normal hedge fund works and these big hedge funds, BlackRock, Fidelity, all these big ones, they have portfolio allocations that they make sure to remain around. And if Bitcoin ends up doing, like, let's just say they reach their 5% threshold for whatever it is, or maybe 1% threshold, or whatever number it is for them, and then Bitcoin ends up doing a 5x from here, so it puts it into the, we'll say, $350,000 region. That would make their portfolio diversification end up going from 5% to 25%, right? Or it will go from 1% to 5%. And usually when that happens, they like to restart allocating funds in different places. Could that cause massive dumps? And could that be the reason why we end up topping this cycle? I'm curious to know, because that's kind of what it seems like to me. Solana versus Ethereum. Solana's winning streak hinges on its crucial index. Samson Moe makes bold Bitcoin ETF prediction this week as Bitcoin tops. Yeah, those are some crazy little names. I can't even say some of them, so I'm not even going to try. What we got? Is this all today? Yep, this is all today. We got that. Yep, back above 70,000. Stock follows suit. Yep. London stock exchanges. Is crypto ETN listings in May. So there you go. You got more coming, more institutions coming. Lemon CFO sees spike in Argentina Bitcoin demand as locals flee inflation. FTX to sell $884 million of Anthropic shares. Damn, didn't know they had that much invested in it. I'm a fan of Anthropic. Anthropic is the creators of Claude AI. So if like you type in CLAUDE, Claude, it's like Chat GPT, but for free. So if y'all are looking for some AI stuff, good stuff there. Binance made aware of executive who fled Nigeria. America should be looking to the Caribbean for crypto regulation. Ethereum and L2 is on track to beat Bitcoin for active addresses. Wow. Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin this cycle. So it's just, very curious. If the Ethereum ETF gets approved this cycle, Ethereum's flipping Bitcoin this cycle. If it doesn't, then there's just way too much money in the these folks over here, the Larry Fink and all that good stuff. The Bitcoin Fund by BlackRock and Fidelity have brought in a net inflow during each of their first Bitcoin ETF snapshot net outflow run hits 5 days for the first time. Yeah, that's what we just pulled up a second ago on the outflows versus inflows. They had actually had more outflows than inflows over the last 5 days is basically what it's saying. And it's primarily due to Grayscale just selling, continuing to just do nothing but sell. Crypto hiring Anchorage. Do we want to see Google quietly adds ENS to search? I heard about this. You can actually look up ETH addresses on Google now. Should we try that? Google.coin. Jesus, come on, man. Google.com. So let's just see if we can just type in what Vitalik.eth. Nope, that didn't work. I spelled it correct, right? Yeah, I did. Am I doing something wrong? I know you can look it up directly by going into Etherscan, but that's the whole purpose of that article, was that you don't have to go into Etherscan. You just search it. Maybe I did something wrong there. Y'all let me know if I did something wrong. If y'all have done this before. That was the first time trying it. Well, it didn't work for me. Unfortunate. So that was just kind of one of those interesting things. We got today on chain saying DeFi Education Fund files lawsuit. Let me see what time. Bitcoin shatters profit-taking streak from 2021 bull run. Yeah, a lot of people are taking profits. Anytime that something's an all-time high, everyone's in profit. So you can just say like short-term sellers are almost guaranteed to be taking profit. Long-term sellers are going to begin taking profit. And again, it's just that really rally of who sells and who buys and all that, and how long does it last and how long does it continue, all those things. SEC begins multi-billion-dollar fraud trial against Terraform Labs for Do Kwon. Bitcoin stalls as evening star forms. Can Bitcoin bulls still shine? Crypto bulls return as Bitcoin spikes above 71,000. Altcoin record double-digit gains. Web3 entrepreneurs can support the growth of public good while pursuing profit and growth. Garlinghouse at SEC to press for another $2 billion in finesse and penalties, or fines and penalties. Yeah, all this. Nigeria strong arming Binance. Stock market today. Stock slipped from recent records. Bitcoin rally above. All right, cool. Well, it doesn't look like anything crazy is happening on the news right there. So, you know, that was just kind of like, for the most part, all of it. Hey, what's up? What's up, Crypto Wonder? I see you, my boy. I see you, my boy. Imagine if, what do you say? Imagine if all this was going down in Fargo, North Dakota instead of North NYC, right? Is getting liquidated the same thing as impermanent loss? No, it's not the same thing. Getting liquidated means like you put up a certain amount of money thinking that the price was going to do certain things, whether it's up or down, and the price does the opposite of what you thought it would do. But because you put up your money, it just wipes that money out. So you end up losing it all. Impermanent loss is when you have liquidity pairing together against two assets, and one of them does an insane gain and the other one doesn't do anything, or it dips quite a bit. In that situation, the one that does the insane gain transfers all the tokens or all the money into the one that did worse. That's called impermanent loss, and it's only taken when you sell. When you do sell, you're going to take impermanent loss, if that's the case. But during that time, hopefully you've been able to make up some yield during that time and all the good stuff there. I actually have a whole video on yield farming as well. I think you just type in ATX crypto yield farming if you're just curious and new to yield farming. Start small, keep it simple. Don't ape in, don't do something silly. Use a different wallet, don't use your core wallet, all those things, right? Just safety first. What up, CWP? What's up, Crypto Wonder? How you doing, my boy? Yeah, so everyone say hello to Crypto Wonder as well. Hey fam, nothing crazy, mate. Some ink ratios sometimes pump nicely. Today is one. Sure does. Everyone saying hello, hello, hello. I like my crypto to do a sloppy top. This ain't sloppy enough. Yeah, dude, it needs to be much sloppier for sure. For sure, for sure. You're a dirty boy. I was born dirty. Oh, goodness, man. Y'all too funny right here. Facts right there. Y'all funny, man. Getting liquidated means getting a divorce, losing the kids, losing the dog, losing sleep, and sleeping on the fridge couch where the wife hates you, where his wife hates you. Yeah, getting liquidated is pretty bad. Pretty bad, man. Not good for anybody. And it happens, especially because people, like, Bitcoin should do a bigger drop. Let's be real. Bitcoin should 100% do a bigger drop. That's good, healthy market structure. And it won't do. I don't think we've seen it go down below like a 15% dip, which is kind of crazy, because again, you almost want those drops to happen, right? So let's just kind of pull up what Bitcoin has done on the on weekly over here and share it once again. So this is a dip over here. Let me make sure the what the hell? All right, cool. So you got that dip right there, and it actually dropped down. Okay, 17%. We have a dip right here. This one dipped down 21%. Okay, okay, I see you. I see you 21%. So we haven't had that nice little 30% correction. Normally, I can just give you a heads up. So normally it's like this. On a bull run, it goes like, do you want this? You want these dips, guys. You want these like 30, 40% dips. This is good, healthy structure. You want these 30, 40% dips. You want this, again, 30, 40% dips. Good, healthy structure. This is good, bullish patterns, 30, 40% dips. You got another 30, 40% dip. Right now, we're not really breaking out of the whole 20% dip world. Like, we're getting some dips, sure, don't get me wrong. Like, but again, it's not really hitting below 20%. Like 21, I guess, is kind of like the max that I've seen so far. A 20% dip there, a 22% dip there. You almost kind of want 20, 30. You want the 30, 40% dips. It is good, healthy market structure for the market to continue, because what it does, shakes out the weak hands. I say that, gives everyone a new floor to set. If it just pumps, and it just pumps like crazy, like, we aren't really setting a new floor. There could be a new floor set here, but it could also dip, and it could also just pump. And if it just wants to keep pumping, there's not like a good, healthy market structure, because then if it does just decide to keep on pumping, we'll say, and it goes all the way up here, there isn't really like a good support level or of anything coming back down. So if there's not good structure, the price just goes, and it comes back and retests levels of support, which is why you almost want it to come back down and retest this 50K range. This is at least a good level of resistance and support so far. You would like it to come back down and retest that 50K range for Bitcoin. But I don't know if we'll see it do that, y'all. I do not know. So I guess let me know what y'all's thoughts are on that down below. Other than that, it's been a fantastic stream. Boys and gents and girls and ladies, I hope all of y'all have a fantastic, wonderful afternoon, and I'll catch y'all in tomorrow's Market Pulse in the morning. Peace.